I had a dream to climb Mt Kilimanjaro, but I didn't just wake up one morning and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Africa and climb this mountain, woohoo! But my dream formed slowly over time. I had always had this passion for travel, adventure, and that adrenaline rush. But honestly, I'd never really thought of going to Africa until my dad went on a trip there. He came back with so many amazing stories to tell and interesting pictures to show. And when I saw them, I knew Africa was my destination. After that, I met many people who had climbed Mt Kilimanjaro, and all their stories were very different, but they rotated around the same idea. They said, sometimes it's beautiful going up, but then there's times where you're just like, what the hell am I doing here? But in the end, when you get to the top, it's all worth it. It's a feeling like no other. And at that moment, I knew I was going to go to Africa and conquer that mountain. And I knew to do that, it would take a lot of hard work and training. So a month before we went on our trip, I went to Calgary to visit my dad, where he lives. There, every weekend, we would go to the Rockies to the highest mountains, not only for our fitness, but also to get used to the high altitude so that we would be less prone to altitude sickness. Mostly for our fitness, what we did was my dad worked in a 36th floor building. There, we would take the fire escape stairs, which are very hot and stuffy. We would walk up the fire escape stairs all the way to the 36th floor and then take the elevator down. Then, we'd walk all the way up to the 36th floor and take the elevator down. And then what did we do? We took the stairs all the way up to the 36th floor and took the elevator down. That was hard work. But then, when we were researching and planning our trip, I started wondering, why am I doing this? Why do I want to climb this mountain so bad? And yeah, I want to get to the top, but I can do it for even more than just that. So I decided to do it for a charity. I chose Malaria Bites by Canadian Red Cross. The reason I chose to do something to do with malaria was because malaria has a huge impact in Africa. Every 30 seconds, one child dies from malaria. I've been speaking for much more than 30 seconds. That's equal to 3,000 children every single day. And quoting Scotty Emery, he says that when you see a plane crash on the news, we're devastated, and we should be. Lives were lost. But the amount of deaths happening in Africa every day just from malaria is equal to 7 Boeing 747s crashing every day. And this is a picture I took while in Africa, while I was experiencing Africa, seeing Africa, and living Africa. And I met this little boy. And knowing that I could save children just like him from malaria just made me so emotional, I can't even explain how I felt. And I was going to climb Kilimanjaro for them, for these children. This is a picture of me and my dad at the base of Mt Kilimanjaro before we started our climb. Kilimanjaro is 5,895 meters tall. When we were in Canada, we chose the Marangu route, and honestly, we were looking for the easiest route to get to the top. But when we arrived there, we found out that in Africa, our route is known as the hardest. The reason is, in Canada, they know that the trails on this one are the nicest, and there's not as much steep areas and cliffs. But it takes the least amount of days, 5 days to get to the top, when some others take 10 or 12. And that means that you have to walk at a hike and trek at a much faster pace, but also that you are much more prone to altitude sickness, and it has the least success rate. But we did good. During the first day, we go through the rainforest, and it's just amazing. It's like something you'd see in National Geographic, and you hear the birds chirping, and there's always the raindrops falling, and it's almost like a natural symphony, like music just coming from the forest. And my favorite day, not including getting to the top, has to be the day we came above the clouds. When we were at the bottom, we couldn't see the top of the mountain at all because the clouds were in our way. So they served as like a suspended benchmark. That's where we want to go. That's one of our goals. And when we made it there, it was almost like success. We did this. And the view, it was like the view from an airplane, but without the wing in your way. And now we were ready for our bigger summit, our other goal, our big goal, the reason that we're here. And before we knew it, summit day arrived. This is the day that everyone is excited for, but also the day that everyone dreads. This is the day that usually determines whether you make it to the top or whether you don't. That night, we go to sleep at around 7:30 p.m., and we wake up at midnight. We only have a few hours available to sleep, and honestly, I hardly slept any of that. The mixture of excitement and fright and all this mixture of emotions, jumble of emotions all inside me, I couldn't sleep. And I guess my body decided to sleep while we were climbing instead of then. When we were climbing, my head was like falling and my eyes were drooping. But as you can see in this photo, my guides did a good job of waking me up and cheering me on. And they taught me some Kilimanjaro songs, and we just had a great time all together. But we also had a lot of hard times. There were so many factors that we didn't even think about that would contribute to how hard it would be. The weather, for example, I was like, it's Africa, it's hot. But at the top, it was minus 15. I know for us, Fort McMurray, that's nothing. But after being in like plus 30, plus 25 weather for such a long time, and that just like 5 days ago we were in that weather and that we came there in such little time, we were really cold and we had camelbacks for our water and they froze. We were lucky that we had water bottles with us, or else we wouldn't have been able to make it to the top due to dehydration. There's some parts where you take 3 steps up and slide down 2, and you have to keep going and going. But from this whole experience, climbing to the top, I learned that what reaching the summit really means. My guides, one of my guides, both of them have climbed Mt Kilimanjaro more than 50 times each. By now, probably much more. One of my guides, for them, it doesn't mean reaching the summit isn't climbing Kilimanjaro. They've done it so many times. One of my guides, he's climbing Kilimanjaro to have enough money to care for his poor family and to care for his sick parents. The other one runs a marathon every year to build orphanages in Africa. And I learned reaching the summit relates to everything in life. It relates to reaching your dreams, what you want to do. And there was hard times, but when your dreams are more important than your fears, and when your dreams are more important than the odds against you, you can do anything. You can overpower that fright. You can overpower anything. And you can try your best. And if you do, you will reach the summit. I remember exactly 6:45 a.m., August 6th. We made it. We did it. It really was a feeling like no other, and we passed those times when we were like, what the hell am I doing here? And we did it, and there really is no other way to explain it than just pure amazing. And the thing that it made it even better was that I didn't just do it for myself. I did it for that little boy in that picture. I did it for all those children in Africa that can be affected by malaria. When we came back to the bottom, we visited Kenyan Red Cross, and there I talked to a Kenyan Red Cross representative about my charity and how much of an impact it could have in Africa. My goal before I set out to climb Kilimanjaro was to raise $10,000. That's not updated, but by now I have over $16,000. And I have created a new goal for myself, which is $19,340, which is the height of Mt Kilimanjaro in feet. So I will be climbing the mountain again, not in footsteps, but in donations. $7 is enough to save one life. And I couldn't have raised as much money as I did without the giving Fort McMurray community and without the Calgary community, and not only by the donations they gave and by fundraising, but by the moral support and by them cheering me on the whole time. To reach the summit, it takes a lot of people helping you, and everyone helped me to reach my summit, Kilimanjaro. So I started out with a dream to climb Kilimanjaro, but in the end, I earned so much. I learned that the meaning of life to me is so much more than just to live or to exist, but to climb higher, to achieve, to conquer, and to reach the summit. Thank you.